is a war. It's happening now. It will decide the fate of humanity. The time to choose sides has come. We are the resistance. We are the info war. We know their ideology is a hyper-eugenicist philosophy of transhumanist exterminism that can only be described as ultra-Hitlerian, and they are in control to a great extent. They are trying to extinct human liberty, basic human independence. They have a basic hatred of the individual that is not under their control. And I am simply here on air trying to get people to realize just how serious the stakes are. You know, I have a friend who is an infantryman, or was an infantryman. He's now the head chef at a major steakhouse here in Austin in the Army, and he sent me a text this morning. And I forgot to get back with him. He wanted to call in about the urban warfare training going on in Virginia with the 300-acre mock U.S. city, complete with Baptist churches and subways and handicap parking. And, of course, in Ohio, last week we reported on, local news there reported on, the fact that they're training with the National Guard for scenarios where gun owners, pro-Second Amendment groups carry out acts of terrorism. And the main branding of terrorism is now on to veterans, gun owners, conservatives, libertarians. You know that. The point is they're not just hiding it in memos now, and then we get the information and it becomes a story. This is being openly flaunted. And he sent me a text this morning saying he'd be happy to come on and discuss it. It's my friend Matt, the same guy that we were able to get on. He was the guy that was able to get that Esquire colonel, that colonel writing for Esquire, talking about we will take your guns from your cold dead hands. He's the guy that got him to respond and got his phone number for us, but the colonel was scared to come on the broadcast. And I wanted to give Matt a chance to call in and comment on that, but I forgot. Guys, I'm going to dial his number and then create an OTS for him and set him up maybe for the next segment. I'm going to just dial his number for you right now. If you just come in and get my phone, I'll just dial this for you. And then you can just call Matt and then set him up and, you know, get his full info and then create an OTS for him and get him on, because I just remembered that. Here you go. Here you go. Just going to give that to you. Thanks a lot. Fantastic. We'll see if Matt answers. But he was, you know, telling me in the text, I mean, obviously this is for domestic operations. Well, they admit it's for domestic operations, and it's for their new enemy, people that are basically still Americans and follow American culture. This is a cultural, political takeover. And it's very, very sad that we've gotten to this point, but people just need to be honest with themselves about the position that we're in if we have any chance of ever turning this around. We're in a lot of trouble. And they're putting the capital controls in. They're putting the tracking systems in. They are making the police hyper-neurotic about making us follow all their orders and that we could be killed if we don't, even if they're unlawful orders. They are converting this society into a kleptocracy. And why shouldn't they? Because if you have a centralized authoritarian system, you can take over every industry, every job, every sector, the land, the teaching, the religion, and make the world your world and not have to compete with anybody. And that's my biggest problem with authoritarianism, is that it destroys competition, it exacerbates cronyism, and the people that tend to end up running these systems, and it's certainly the case with our elite, are very predatory and enjoy hurting people. And it's fundamental that folks realize how much danger we're in. It's fundamental across the board. Now, let me just do this, and then I will continue on with some other video clips we're going to be getting into. Let me just start here with this area of the stack. This is out of the Right Scoop. Pat Caddell says the GOP establishment wants the IRS to go after the Tea Party. Pat Caddell said yesterday on Fox News, and the video's up on Infowars.com, that the reason Republican leadership hasn't pushed for a high level of investigation of the IRS for targeting the Tea Party is because they want the IRS to go after the Tea Party. And that's true. And the only way to counter this persecution is to point out that Republican leadership on record for the last 3 years at least has been organizing all the big donors to give money to even Democrats running against Tea Party people, or to give money to establishment Republicans to beat Tea Party people. And they want them shut down because they're part of the very same kleptocratic team. This is a big deal. But to have more and more people telling the truth like this will be the beginning of the end of the establishment, because when the average person figures out that we're all under attack, literally 99.9999999% of us, we did the math a few years ago, of 6,000 superclass in the globalist own estimation, Rothkopf, head of Kissinger Group's own estimation, you average that into 7.5 billion people, 6,000 into 7.5 billion. I forget the exact number, but it was like 0.0000000 something. 23 or something. 13 zeros and then a couple other numbers. I mean, this is ridiculous. And then meanwhile, that ultra elite, Soros and others, are the ones funding the socialist movement of rebellion, like Occupy Wall Street, which means well at many levels, but Wall Street's not the problem. It's the top 4 or 5 banks up there that have insider trading and the whole system's rigged and have created all the derivatives. They're the problem. That's the worst part about this, is they have their cake and eat it too. Because they're able to create monopolies, control the public with low-level socialism, exempt themselves from all of it, wreck everything, and then get more power at each level of the crisis off the crisis they created. And they've all written books bragging about the Hegelian dialectic of problem, reaction, solution. They follow the very same program over and over again because why? Because it works. I've talked to a lot of top people in government, and they've been at the highest levels of global council. And I've been in some of the highest levels myself a few times. And the number one rule is don't fix it if it's not broken. And so they just continue to do the same thing over and over again because it works. And that's how I can see a terror attack like Boston and go, well, wait, let's see if there was a drill. Now, this might have been a real attack. Let's see if, okay, there was a drill of the exact same thing happening at the exact same time. Oh, wait, they're covering up the drill. Oh, wait, they've got military personnel in plain clothes everywhere with black backpacks, clearly meant to confuse the police and the cameras later. That mean they were involved. They were probably called there to say there was a terror threat. Now, if the people they end up patsying have connections to the CIA, then we know it's an inside job. And then it turned out both of them were working for the CIA, the older brother definitely being financed through multiple groups out of Georgetown University. And then the family says that, and now the one brother's pleading not guilty, and then you've got all the stuff that came out of it. I mean, and then the dead bodies all getting fished out of the river, the cover-up. And the media being told, do not look at InfoWars photos. The FBI at press conferences, we're handing out photos, and they're saying, don't look at those. And the media says, yes, sir. People say, how do you know when something's staged? How do I know when I look at a wood pile in the summer out in the woods in, say, East Texas, that there's probably a rattlesnake under it or a copperhead or something like that? Because I've learned enough driving around on a tractor when you've got a bulldozer front on it and you've been tasked with removing piles of debris or bulldozing something, that there's snakes are going to come flying out the bottom of it. I can look at a big pile of stuff and tell my kids around the woods, hey, don't climb around on that. I tell my kids, hey, that cardboard box, don't stick your hand in a cardboard box in a field. Probably a black widow in there, and you turn it over, and there's a black widow hanging up in the top of it. I know where black widows in Texas live because I've seen it about 400 times. I know where brown recluses live, in your closet, under your bed. I know what a brown recluse looks like, too. I know what a copperhead looks like. I know what a water moccasin looks like versus a regular water snake. Just like anybody else could figure out red on yellow kills a fella versus a false coral snake. I mean, it's just simple observation. You learn how they operate. Let's say Obama got caught in an affair with some woman tomorrow. He would then cruise missile some third world country the next day. I mean, they follow an exact program. You go see movies like Wag the Dog, then a year later they follow the exact scenario in Serbia. They're telling you how they scripted the whole deal. And the movie producer goes, well, I'm going to go out. The director says, I'm going to go out and brag that I did all this. And they said, sir, you can't do that. He goes, no, I am. So they kill him. And you hear at the end of the movie, he's had a heart attack. And, of course, I knew this a long time ago, but they're now declassifying a lot of it. A lot of these Hollywood producers actually work for the globalists, and they even write up the scripts for what they're going to stage. And then that way, when the operatives have the scripts, if they get caught by the police or a group that's not part of it, it's compartmentalized, oh, it's a script. It's a movie script. That's how they run these operations. That's what they do. And it's so frustrating to see all this going on. And, of course, I said weeks ago here on air that the IRS is not going after the Democrats because they are the establishment party. And they're not going after establishment Republicans because they're part of the establishment. They're only going after the Tea Party, gun owners, gun groups, pro-life groups, people that have any sense of morals, any sense of not doing whatever the power structure says. This is a full-scale political persecution. And I pointed out the Republicans are not going after the IRS because the Republican leadership is just as scared or more so of the Tea Party than the Democrats are. Every time it leaks at a Joe Biden meeting or a Boehner meeting, they are freaking out over the Tea Party. And they've got to bring it down because it's got the light of liberty in its heart. And that's why it's so universally decried. This is what the Fox News guest said. When you have 71% who want an investigation, 64% who believe it's a sign of corruption, including nearly a majority of Democrats, the reason is the establishment Republicans want the IRS to go after the Tea Party. Got it? They want them to go after the Tea Party because the Tea Parties are an outside threat to their power hold. And I'm telling you, the lobbying consulting class of the Republican Party and the Republican leadership who have been attacking the Tea Party and alienating them, they want the IRS to do this. In fact, go ahead and just get that video. That's so truthful. Well, you have it right now. Let's go ahead and play this Veritas.
When you have 71% who want an investigation, 64% who believe that it is a sign of corruption, including nearly a majority of Democrats. The reason is the establishment Republicans want the IRS to go after the Tea Parties. Got it? They want to go after the Tea Parties.
That's right.
Because the Tea Parties are an outside threat to their power hold.
And by the way, this is how liberty works. I want to explain something. When you show courage, when I show courage, when somebody like Matt Drudge of DrudgeReport.com shows courage, when WorldNet Daily shows courage, when a local talk show host shows courage, when a Democrat shows courage and speaks out against Obama and the IRS, when anybody stands up and tells the truth, it brings more light into the world. And then that enables other people to tell the truth and to see what's going on and to join you. And then you take over with the Bill of Rights and Constitution. And a great example of this as we go to break is out of Time magazine on Friday, Valentine's Day. Children exposed to more brain-harming chemicals than ever before. A new report finds the number of chemicals contributing to brain disorders in children has doubled since 2006. Doubled. And it goes on to admit the number one thing is fluoride in the water. And they admit Harvard and other studies showing IQ reduction in children that drink fluoridated water. Now, that is absolutely incredible out of Time Magazine. And they go on to list that it's causing increased aggressive behaviors, mental illness, fluoride causing, quote, drop in average IQ. It just goes on and on. Now, again, I want to bring this to the mayor that laughs at us when we have like top toxicologists, major professors come in and brain scientists, neurologists, and we go, here are the scientific reports, 1 part per million lowers IQ and causes dental fluorosis and also causes bone degeneration and a 7-fold increase in bone cancer in men. And then he just goes, you know what, I don't have time to hear this, gets up, laughs, and walks off the stage every time. Well, they've got to laugh. It's a con game. Ha, 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 yeah, right. Because they know, folks, this is all their big joke. The political class of Democrats, especially, they know full well the fluoride's there to dumb you down. They're laughing at you because they're not taking it out. Unless you take them out politically. Believe me, I know these Democrats especially. These are evil social engineers, folks. They know what they're doing. They enjoy what they're doing. They think it's funny. The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality. InfoWarsLife.com.